Hello and welcome back to Our Sustainable Journey. I am Steve. Today we are going to do a little experiment with the worms and see how long it takes a group of worms to consume a certain amount of food. So I'm thinking a pound of worms and a pound of food. We'll see how many worms we have and how much food we want to feed them. So stick around. Start by weighing out the worms and see how many we have, and then we'll do our calculations. Okay. So I'm going to zero out the scale and that. See, all right, it is zeroed out on that tray. I'm going to take the ones from the fish tank because they're kind of my favorite right now. And I think they've pretty much eaten everything that they could, or that they want to, really. So we're gonna scoop them into this tray and get a weight on what we start with. Pull out. Okay, I will pull off the things that will not get eaten, or that they haven't eaten at all. Make sure nobody's trapped inside. I don't think there are any. Should be good. And what's left of the coffee. Actually, I'm probably going to leave this because there's a whole bunch of worms on the inside of that. There's no coffee left. So it's just this little plastic cover, but it's their home. We have one sock, a couple of worms still. Let's see if there's anybody inside. Yes. There are. Alright. Get all the worms out of that. At least one more sock. I thought there was one more sock. There it is. Okay. Oh my gosh, there's a bunch of cocoons. And a bunch of worms living on the inside. Alright. Come on, guys. Raccoons in here, we got worms in here. Nice hole. So it's a good home, but not good food. Alright. I do believe that is everything. Okay. And unfortunately the way I put this, there we go. Okay, so this is 3 pounds, 9.4 ounces. I covered up the weight. So we are starting with, we'll call it 3.5 pounds of worms and their castings, right? Because these are basically what was left of the other stuff. So if we assume, based on how saturated this is, let's say there's a pound of worms in here, okay? So a pound of worms should eat a 1/2 pound of food a day. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put, do I wanna do 3 pounds of food? Let me do 1 pound of food, and we'll see how long it takes them to consume it all. So we're gonna set these guys aside because I wanna bury the food, right? So then we'll tear that, and I will get another bucket and we'll put a pound of food on the scale. Okay. Tear it. This is like an old broken pitcher, but it does the job. Okay. So and see what we have. Grab the buckets, food scraps. Okay. So in the bucket of food scraps, we have bananas, toast, a head of lettuce, it looks like, some onions, an orange, some grapes. So this is kind of a good sampling. We'll see how it all works out. All right, that is a little over a pound of food. I'm gonna make it 3 pounds. We'll do 3 pounds of food. So I will dump this in the fish tank. Zero it out. More lettuce. That's perfect. Come on. Go, that's 1/2 pound. We got some broccoli. Some grapes. I saw pepper in there, jalapeno of some sorts, an onion. That's a pound. So we've got 1 more pound. Dump this in the fish tank. Zero it out again. And we will get 1 more pound. Alright. So we've got Brussels sprouts. Orange peel. There's an eggshell in there. want some tortillas. Weeks. We're at 12 ounces, we're getting there. More Brussels sprouts. 15. A little bit of bread. I think that's onion. Okay. And that makes a full pound. So now we have 3 pounds. So, in theory, the worms should go through 3.5 pounds, but I'm gonna check this regularly. So we'll put it in the fish tank, bury it. I will dump the worms on top. Just like that. We'll spread it around a little bit. Make sure they're nice and buried. Okay. So, about a pound of worms, 3 pounds of food, and 1 week's time. We'll see what happens. Now, part of this, the other part of this that I want to see, that I haven't told you, because I don't know how much time I'm going to have to do this week, is I want to count the worms. We all say a pound of worms is approximately 1,000 worms. But I want to count them. I'm curious. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to do it this week, but before this little experiment is done, I will count the worms and be able to tell you definitively how many worms were in this tank when we started this little experiment. So we'll get them going. I'll put the cover on this that we keep on it, and we'll check back in a week, and then I'll get to feeding the rest of the CFTs and see how they all do. All right. Okay, so there you go. About a pound of worms, roughly 3 pounds 9 ounces, but I think a lot of that's going to be castings, so we'll call it a pound of worms. And 3 pounds of food, not the pound that I thought I was going to do. They're all tucked away for the night, and we will check back on them and see how they're doing. So stay tuned for more fun with worm experiments and counting the worms. The best thing about having your chickens free range is that every day is an Easter egg hunt. 3 more. Great. Now we get to keep hunting.